Hello folks, welcome to this video, and here I'm going to be giving a review for ADAC Rallye Deutschland, round 10 of this season's WRC, which just concluded today. I'm going to be looking at a couple of the key points, a bit about the results, and also offering some insight into things that might affect the championship over the course of the rest of this season and potentially in the future. If you took the results at a glance, you'd think it was Toyota domination, with a 1-2-3 tarmac bringing home his second win in succession, followed by Chris Meek, his best finish since return to sport with Toyota at the start of this season, and Jari-Matti getting his second podium in the row after having not had a podium all season beforehand. It's also, statistically, the first 1-2-3 we've seen for about 4 years, the last one being a 2015 Rally Germany with Volkswagen dominating, and the first 1-2-3 for Toyota under the Toyota Gazoo Racing guys. The last time they got it was Toyota Team Europe. For a bit more context, as before I was born, it's over 25 years ago. It was a Safari Rally when they were entering in the Celica. So that is quite a throwback. It's quite odd to think about it at a glance, though, because if you've been following over the course of the weekend, you'd notice that Hyundai, the team closest to that Toyota Team Europe lot, having been based out of Germany and having had a lot of the people from Toyota Team Europe come over to join them, were actually quite close. Of course, they brought home 4th, 5th and 6th. Across the line, it was Sordo, Neuville and Mikkelsen. However, Sordo took a 20-second time penalty to bump Thierry up into 4th place for, Drivers' Championship reasons. Citroën, by the way, did the same thing for their 7th and 8th. They demoted Lappi from where he was in 6th to 8th, so that Ogier would go up to 7th. So they sacrificed some of their manufacturers' points to boost Seb's title chances. But if you had a look at how they were performing, you'd be quite surprised. Because if it wasn't for the issues that they had, Sordo with a gearbox issue at the end of the first leg, and Thierry picking up a puncher in the first run of the long Planter stage, they probably would have been winning. If you took away the time for those issues separately, and of course that means you have to think about the fact that they were, recovering, which is why they were so fast, it would put them right up at the top. Which is quite interesting, because we've usually thought of the Toyotas as the fast but unreliable cars. Whereas here in Germany, it appears to have been the Hyundais. Of course, the team hasn't actually won in what you could consider their home rally since their first attempt in 2014. So what could that mean? Could it mean that they should have brought in Sebastian Loeb? Well, it would have meant that we wouldn't have any more Loeb for the rest of the season, and they're probably going to be saving him for Spain. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. Rounding off the points places, we had Gus Greensmith in 9th in the lead Ford, and Takamoto Katsuta in 10th in the 4th Yaris. And you have to say well done to Takamoto. It's the first points finish for a Japanese driver in a work seat since Toshi Arai over 10 years ago. Which, that's quite a nice figure to have. Especially with the rumours of Toyota setting up a satellite B team, but that's something I'll talk about probably in another video. Of course, we still see Takamoto at one more round this season, Rally Spain. Teemu Salonen finished well down the pack, but you can understand why. Technical issues on the first day with the fly-by-wire. It was actually in the second stage of the event, where they had to do Rally 2 on Saturday. But Teemu showed good pace, and probably would have been in the top 5 had he not had that issue. But again, much like with Sordo and Neuville, that's all much of a muchness. So let's talk about what this means for the championship. It means that Ott Tanak now has a 33-point lead over Thierry Neuville, who was in 2nd place, and another 7 points over Sebastian Ogier, who's now 40 points behind in 3rd. So it means that Tanak now has a round in hand over Thierry Neuville. Elsewhere in the Manufacturers' Championship, it means that Hyundai's lead is now cut down to 8 points over Toyota Gazoo Racing. So could Toyota do the double? It's possible. However, Hyundai have got a few more tricks up their sleeves. After having seen how Andreas performed this weekend with no kind of massive issues, but still being behind Sordo and Neuville at the end of the event, it could be likely that for Rally Spain they're going to do what they did with Corsica and bring in Sebastian Loeb and Danny Sordo. Part of that's because Sordo said, well, I'm going to be there whether I'm in a Hyundai or not. But also because of the fact that in Corsica they performed quite well. And of course, in terms of Sardinia, we saw Sordo doing quite well, and in Chile we saw Loeb doing quite well on the gravel. Which would mean that you'd probably have 2 more rounds where Hyundai are going to have to bring in part-time drivers. Craig Breen is rumored to get Rallye GB. And for Australia, they could bring in Hayden Paddon. It means that they potentially be able to open him up to more seat time since he didn't do Rally Finland, and he could be more prepared ahead of Rally Australia. That would be quite interesting, and it could be how Hyundai end up winning a manufacturer's title. But then again, we've seen a lot of changes happen in WRC before, some of them quite drastic, and some of them right at the end of the season. I mean, we saw Thierry Neuville's kind of fall over the course of the second half of last season. We saw Oitanak Storm get halted in issues in Rally GB and Spain. We saw Neuville's championship lead get demolished and Ogier take the lead because of something else that again happened in Rally Spain. It will be interesting to see, because I think that we're going to see Hyundai start to make moves that favour themselves as a manufacturer rather than favouring Thierry as a driver. I think we can start seeing that next time out in Turkey. And that's that for this review. I'm going to be talking more about kind of driver transfers and so on over the course of the next couple of weeks ahead of Rally Turkey, especially when M Sport tell us what's going to be happening with Elfyn Evans for the event. If you want to stay in the loop, you can always subscribe. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to get a discussion going, do that in the comments below. Do you think the Toyota are now going to be absolutely unstoppable, or do you think that Hyundai are going to mount a challenge? Or could Citroën do something from the outside? Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.